I'm joined by the cast and crew of Orthodox, director David Leon, star Stephen Graham, and rising star Giacammo Mancini. Stephen, you're the Orthodox kosher butcher turned unorthodox bare-knuckle boxer, illegal boxer. Not many characters like that about.
No, there isn't at all, and that's why it was such a gift to play. I think it was about 2.5 years ago, where we did a short film. David wrote a fantastic short script, and with the premise and with the idea of making it into a feature. And luckily enough, we had the opportunity to do that. But it was a fantastic role, a great role to play.
It is an unusual character, David. Where did he spring from in your mind?
Well, I think the history of Jewish immigrants coming over to the UK, in the kind of the sort of the late 19th century, whereby there was a kind of a group of Jewish men who kind of really had to fight for their existence to some extent as an immigrant kind of underclass, was kind of the starting point for that. And I wondered, how that kind of fit into a contemporary setting whereby a character lives in an area like Stamford Hill in London, where on the one hand you have a very multicultural kind of community as kind of represented by Hackney, and on the other hand you have this almost kind of 19th century Polish village in Stamford Hill, and if you have a character who's almost kind of pulled between those two communities and pushed and almost kind of ostracised to an extent, and really having to kind of to fight for his own identity and to be accepted in that way, it seemed to me a kind of an interesting canvas for a story.
And it is, and Stephen builds this character he's got so many conflicting elements. He's a family man. He's a professional man. He wants to please his dad and go into the family business. He wants to please his God and go into the family religion, but he also wants to please himself in a way. Is that what boxing is for him? A sort of outlet?
Yeah. I suppose that's his way of his sense of release and his sense of finding an identity in many ways. And his community, like I spoke when we did another interview together. It's that kind of the gym element of it is like a family.
I love a gym. I do love a gym in cinema. They work really well. You can smell it.
Well, yeah, the proper gyms like that. You know what I mean, with the punch bags and the skipping ropes and all that. Them real gyms, not your Ballantyne or whatever, them kind of gym. I mean, very good luck to them all, but these are real gyms, and I suppose to him that's his sense of home. Like we were saying before, with being ostracised and stuff like that. That is his sense of community, and it's completely frowned upon actually boxing within that religious context of it. But it's his only way he finds of being himself, and like we spoke about before, it's a small butcher shop that his father ran. And now he's trying to take over it, and it's one of them where they can be there in your community for years and years and years, and all of a sudden you don't realise until you walk past and they're boarded up because of the struggle with the huge supermarkets and people going to them, and it's that small business that gets taken away. And if we look at it properly, that's the chippings away of our community.
Listen, I'm not going to play the good Samaritan. I've got a proposition for you. It's a very lucrative one. The Medways. Look, I've got a property down there. It's more trouble than it's worth. It's fallen to bits. Need an insurance job. It's going to do it myself. If you need the money, I can turn it over to you.
No, that ain't my thing, mate.
10 grand on it for you.
Ten.
10. In your paw. No questions.
When?
As soon as possible.
Where's it come from?
I can't tell you that, man.
Interesting as well. I mean, rising rents as well will do this to high streets, and yet you've also got this kind of element of the property landlords in that Jewish community as well. He's brilliant as this kind of, I'm going to call him a chief rabbi kind of figure, but yeah. I mean, it's a great villain. But were you a bit worried about portraying a sort of an area of a sort of religion like that? It would be very, they're going to be sensitive to that portrayal.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's very important to kind of to treat the nature of that subject matter as kind of sensitively as possible, and but at the same time, these are human beings kind of living on the fringes of a community, and I think that's where kind of drama exists. I think it's very important to kind of know that, you know, these are human beings who are flawed and who have, both, hopefully three-dimensional, so they have their positive traits and their negative. But I think the thing for me that was most interesting about the character is that really what he's striving for is acceptance, and when he's kind of pushed out of his own community, he finds acceptance within the kind of secular mainstream community, and as Stephen was saying, within the community of the boxing gym. So he's almost persecuted for his beliefs, and almost has to take up boxing as a means of self-defense, and by doing that finds a community which, regardless of kind of race or religion, he feels much more comfortable within. And I think that's a very kind of 21st century tale, really.
And just to come back to you again on this, Stephen, as well, it strikes me, in a way, your character, he sort of takes a hit. He sort of goes down in the boxing terms, but also in the family terms for this. And it's something that I don't know, it happens to you, because, I mean, if you think about it, your character in This Is England does the same thing.
Yeah, it must. Yeah.
Are they blaming you, Stephen Graham?
No, not at all. I understand that. But for me, they're the interesting characters, and there is a similar storyline as well with this, with regards to young Giacomo, where my character wants him to not make the same mistakes that I made, and wants him to, and I try and become his protector in many ways, and try and be sort of like a father figure to him, to try and steer him in the right path, and help him stay away from, that, like David was saying, help him stay away. Because what we've created as well, which is also brilliantly played by Smiley,
Michael Smiley.
Michael Smiley, yeah, we just call him Smiley. What's brilliantly played by him is that, that kind of dark underlord, in a way, of not abusing these kids, but you're never quite sure what he's done, but having them kids under his control. And I think what's great about Giacomo's journey is the way he finds his way of realising that this man that you've looked up to is not everything he thought he was.
I'm going to bring you in here then, Giacomo, because you do come in the later part of the film. I mean, first of all, you get to be taken under the wing of Stephen Graham, you bring this kind of young. I don't see comes like a son to him, because he can't fulfil those purposes. What was that? It felt very real. Do you know what I mean? Was it like that as well? Because he's quite of an experienced actor, this fella.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, even from the short, I mean, we just clicked straight away. I mean, it is like a father figure, but Benjamin's more of a father figure that's trying to do it for the right things, rather than, making kids do his dirty work, So I guess Daniel is thankful for Shannon in some ways, but, I think he's looking for love, someone to really look after him. And
all the boys have been talking about you. You're a proper legend.
What do you mean?
Like the best boxer around here, that you didn't grass on Shannon.
Listen, Shannon's always been there for me.
Know what I heard?
Yeah, well, you heard wrong.
I heard you were just like us, and when it went all tits up, Shannon stabbed you in the back.
Yeah?
Yeah, not being funny, but just heard so many stories, it's weird to finally meet you. Why are you sweeping up for him? He should be sweeping up for you.
Look, I told you, Shannon's always been there for me. A bit like you. Well, I didn't have a choice. I burnt all my bridges around here.
What did you learn about acting from Stephen Graham?
Oh, I mean, I've been so fortunate so early in my career to work with people like this, and even Dave as well. I mean, I'm learning from the best, and it's even Smiley as well. We worked before. It was just a real good chemistry we had, and it was natural. It was really natural. And Stevie as well, like, he takes me under his wing in the film. He'd done that with me in our personal life,
You're quite like that with young actors. Obviously, you've got a great, been, sort of famous for This Is England, working with young Thomas Turgoose, who must have been about 12 when you first met him.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think we have a responsibility, to guide these young talented actors, to make them aware of the industry, and everything doesn't just fall on a plate, and it takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of personal struggle and conviction to master your craft, and I think that's very important. David's exactly the same. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember when you were a young actor?
Yeah, there was a fantastic actor called Drew Schofield who took me under his wing, who I'm very indebted to. He was the one that told me to go to the Everyman Youth Theatre. And he's always been there like a father figure for me in many ways, in the respects of my career in acting.
What about you, David? I know you do acting as well. This is your directing debut. What about in the filmmaking? Has anyone been a mentor to you, or an inspiration at least?
Well, I think having been able to have the experience of working on the other side of camera, it's brilliant working not only with a certain degree of actors, but also learning from other directors in that respect. I think it's a wonderful place to learn how a film set works actually as an actor, because you get access to so many other kind of elements of the process. So you never really have all the answers, but I think it means that when you go behind camera, you at least have a shorthand with the actors and an understanding and a kind of respect of what it is that they have to do, and understand the kind of the process that they go through. And
what about you, Jack? Did you go to drama school?
Well, no.
Is this your drama school?
Yeah, this is my drama school, and usually I see myself kind of looking for the basic things, picking up acting books, for example. Stevie got me into reading. I never was interested in reading before he sent me a few books. And yeah, so it was, for me, experience is key, but, sometimes I do look for, say, books, or look for, say, some basic knowledge that, but like David say, when you get thrown onto it at the deep end, you can either, fall down or stand up and actually go through with what you're doing. And with Top Boy, I was lucky enough to work with Giacammo Mancini, who's a fantastic director, and he also guided me through. And also working from great, I'm working with the best here, so, I've been very fortunate in that sense.
I enjoyed Top Boy very much, and Jan went on, of course, to do 71 with Jack O'Connell, who you just worked with, haven't you?
Yeah, I've just done a film with Jack. It's called, I'll have to get this right, H, which was good. It wasn't fun, because I played Himmler, so it was, it was heavy stuff. But
the Himmler, Heinrich Himmler.
Yeah, Heinrich Himmler. Yeah, Hitler's right hand man, and that was, that was tricky, but that was very good to do. But the same, it's that kind of with the character, it's seeing what's there with the character. It doesn't matter how big or small the role is. It's what you can do with the character, and that's what. This was such a great experience. This film to work with David and Giacammo and Chris and Smiley and the lovely woman who played my wife as well, to just create
Rebecca Callard, is that?
Yeah. Rebecca.
Give her a due.
Yeah, give her a due. She was fantastic. And it's just what I found about David was, and maybe it is what he said about that understanding of the process of acting. Some directors get it and some really don't, but what he creates was an environment where you were able to play. And what I loved about it is, no matter how much you had to shoot during the day, he never rushed the process of us finding the moments which were true within the scene.
Well, I might add that as a critic. What I admired a lot about the film was I said you could smell the gym, but you could also feel the butcher shop as well. This kind of down at heel butcher shop, which hardly had any meat in it. It was kind of on its opposite. It was down. You could feel the house where you lived, which is interesting because those communities are not all very wealthy at all. It's kind of a hard scrabble existence sometimes, and there's a dowdiness to it. And I thought that was really well captured in all of those. And those not places that many cameras have been before, and certainly not British films. I've never seen those before.
Yeah, well, you're always trying to tread that line, of being as authentic as possible on a basically a shoestring budget, and at the same time trying to give the various departments enough room, like Stephen says, to be able to kind of collaborate and bring all the elements together. But that's very kind of you, Jason. I appreciate it, because I think that part of one of the things that was very important about the film was giving it a real sense of kind of atmosphere and identity, and capturing a world that even we found it very difficult to penetrate. It makes it very difficult when you're trying to be true to and kind of authentic with regard to the world, but hopefully within reason we managed to do that.
Yeah. And did you train for it? Are you a boxer of old or a butcher of old? Both.
Boxer, candlestick maker. I did quite a little bit of boxing when I was a kid. I boxed in where I'm from, Kirby. I boxed at the Kirby gym years ago, and just before I came onto this, I did do quite a little bit of training again with a friend of mine who's got a gym in Leicester, so I did a little bit of training in his gym and stuff.
I don't mean you looked fabulous, your physique was amazing, but I wouldn't call you ripped.
No,
you wouldn't be.
No, not at all. No, because
that was the point of it.
because I don't wake up and have a green juice and have my goji berries and fucking, do you know what I mean, every single day. I'll have a bifter and a coffee and a bacon sarnie, which is the point of that kind of. It's the which I think David captured well with that fight. And we've seen a lot of kind of underground fighting before, but what I loved about that was the way it was in a barn. It was in this huge barn, and it was just two men going at it basically. Which them fights still exist now today. You can find them. Maybe I shouldn't declare myself to the point, but I did see one not long before we started this.
Shane Meadows is a bit obsessed with the sort of the gypsy fight scene as well. Isn't he making a film about one?
Apparently, yeah. Hopefully, if everything goes well, he's going to do a film about Barty Gorman, who was king of the gypsies. He was one of the king fighters of the gypsies. But them kind of fights still happen, and if you look at them fellas, they don't look like they've just stepped off cover of FHM. Do you know what I mean? They look like they're more on the back of, I don't know, the Big Issue or something. Do you know what I mean? So it's that diversity and it's that truth which we wanted to try and show and portray.
Well, I think you did it all really, really well. I wish you the best of luck with Orthodox. As I say, as the title says, it's an unusual film about an unusual character and told in a very unusual way. Congratulations, David, Stephen and Jack. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.